Earlier this week, a friend of mine sent me a text and said, "Do you know anything about spiritual psychosis? Can you share on it?" And I said to him, "I don't know what you were talking about." And so he sent me a link, and in this link, there is a lady who is sharing her experiences in what she deems as spiritual psychosis, but her deliberations are actually bordering along the lines of occultic activities, financial manipulations, and leadership abuse of authority. And so the question still remains, even after the video: what is spiritual psychosis? And that's what I want us to discuss today. Hello and welcome to The Preacher's Hand, your go-to faith-based inspirational messages platform. Today's message is not meant to condemn, it is not meant to label, and it is not meant to embarrass anyone. But it is meant to protect, to restore, and to bring clarity to some of the activities, some of the things that we engage in and we encounter in our journey with the Lord. We live in a generation that is thirsty for spiritual experiences. People nowadays are interested in prophecy, in dreams, in visions, in spiritual encounters. Now, spiritual psychosis happens when someone believes that they are being directed by God, that they are being spoken to by God, that they are being led by God. But this leading, this direction, and these speakings are contrary, number one, to the scriptures. Number two, they reject accountability. Number three, they dismiss wisdom. And number four, they separate an individual from reality. When that happens, faith becomes an obsession. Revelation replaces relationship. Instead of now having the fruit of the Spirit, which is love, peace, and patience, we now have contrary. We have fear, paranoia, pride, and confusion. And this is the difference between spiritual awakening and spiritual psychosis. And some leaders use this spiritual psychosis to ensure that their needs and their wants are met. And this could be spiritual needs, this could be sexual needs, there could be financial needs, whatever needs. Because even within these churches, within these cults, many of these men now ensure that there is a breed of women within the church that are being groomed to service them. And so, as a young lady, you are told you are going to marry this person. God said that you will marry this person. Even though you don't love this particular individual, you are going to marry them because it is the man. He is the vicar of God on the earth. You cannot say anything against him. He is actually God over your life. And the painful thing about these things is majority of these people don't even know that this is wrong, because these men groom them to be so. There are churches where fiancés understand that the man of God must taste first before my husband. It happens. And because they've been groomed that way, they see nothing wrong with it. It is the culture, the secret culture of that particular church. I must give all my money to the man of God. I don't have to consult my husband. The prophet is the man of God that I must listen to, because he has exalted himself above every other individual. And these are signs of occultic practices hiding behind God. You see, the thing about occultic activities and occultic practices is that they want to access God. They want to access the power of God. They want to access God's encounters outside God's authority. That is why majority of them cannot teach the scriptures. They cannot teach the God of the Bible. There is no message that they can deliver that does not speak about their needs or their wants. They cannot point you to the entire counsel of God. It is always about their needs. They will always share one or two verses. From there, they need to take you into another realm and another dimension, because they understand where power is, there is less of caution, concentration, and you cannot take note. And they do this as a memo because they understand in an electrifying atmosphere, caution is out of the window, thought is out of the window, judgment is out of the discernment is out of the window. So you are now enticed by what you see, by what they are declaring. Your spirit is now open, and it is easy for them to walk in manifestations, to walk in power, because they have that knowledge, they have that access, they have that power that was not authorized. So because in the word, by preaching the word, we are able to know who you are. So they cannot under any circumstance bring themselves to preach the word. By them preaching the word, they will expose themselves. That is why majority of them will never preach this word pointing you to Christ. They must always point out their needs and their wants. That is why even some of them can be so mad that Sister so and so bought me this and bought me that. They are saying this in the pulpit. What they are doing is to bring you to condemnation, to a place where you feel like, ish, my name is going to be called the next sermon. And they are doing this in the pulpit. They are doing this in the WhatsApp groups. They are doing this in WhatsApp calls. They will never do this to you as an individual. They must do it in the company of others, so that you feel the shame that you do not do anything for your men of God. But that time you are a student, you are getting the bare minimum. But what is required of you is 5,000. Where do you get the 5,000 when your allowance is what, 1.9? The system is God, truth, wisdom, peace. But in occultic practices, it is experience, power, control, and confusion. So they have to rewire you. And we need to understand that spiritual psychosis doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. One is groomed over the years to get into this particular state, to believe these particular things, and to get to a place where now they are isolated. Though the first thing that happens in grooming an individual for spiritual psychosis is number one, isolation. Please understand this. The moment you are withdrawn from a community of believers, from your friends, from your family, know that you are being groomed in what is called spiritual psychosis. The Bible in Proverbs 11:14, I'll read it here. It says, in the multitude of counselors there is safety. But there are pastors, there are people, there are organizations that believe that you should not listen to any other pastor except yours. He is the fivefold minister. All the gifts of the Spirit are within him. He is entrusted with your life. He is your prophet. What do they say? My prophet, something like that. So the first step towards conquering you and bending your will and putting you into this state that we call spiritual psychosis is to isolate you. The second thing is trauma. Trauma can also contribute to what we call spiritual psychosis, because you can end up seeing things, believing things, and having hallucinations. And we also should understand that borderline these things, there is what is called psychological spectrum disorders into these particular things that we are talking about. The third thing that contributes to spiritual psychosis is what we call spiritual pride. The belief that you are the only enlightened one. The belief that you are more superior than others. Where correction becomes persecution. Where we cannot touch the anointed. Where the anointed cannot be corrected. Then you know that these are signs and paths of spiritual psychosis. The fourth thing that contributes to spiritual psychosis is over-spiritualizing everything. Every impulse, every vision, every voice you hear, you believe that you are being directed, you believe that you are being led, you believe that it is God that is speaking to you. But the truth is, Joshua 5 lets us know that there is a possibility that even foreign entities can speak to you. Because when an angel appeared before Joshua, Joshua was wise enough to say, whose side are you on? Are you with us or are you with our enemies? He did not just see an angel and automatically believe that, no, this is the angel of God and he is for us. No. He said he questioned this experience. And to some of you, some of the experiences that you are going through or that you have gone through are actually cases of mental illness. They border along psychological disorders. And it is important to underline this because majority of us believe just because we are seeing things and things are happening to us, we are falling in and out of the fire, we believe that it is God. Whereas some of these things are actually mental disorders. So it is important for us to have discernment, because discernment will help us understand what exactly are you on about. What is the source of this power that you are demonstrating? How do you know that you are experiencing spiritual psychosis? Number one, inability to receive correction. Just know that you are experiencing spiritual psychosis, because the Spirit of the Lord is a teachable spirit. If you cannot be taught, if you cannot receive correction, just know that you are receiving spiritual psychosis. Increasing paranoia and fear, spiritual psychosis. Obsession with hidden meanings and deeper revelations, just know that you are trading along spiritual psychosis. If you claim exclusive access to the voice of God, that you are the only one that God can speak to, and any other person did not hear right, spiritual psychosis. Justifying harmful actions and behaviors and illegal practices in the name of God, just know that you are being groomed into spiritual psychosis. And if you now neglect basic responsibilities and neglect the company of your friends, family, companions, just know that you are experiencing spiritual psychosis. And when that happens, they are bringing you back to what we talked about, which is that level of isolation. I'll pick an example of spiritual psychosis. Let's take the issue of the rapture. It's the perfect example to show you how spiritual psychosis works. Majority of the people during the rapture were told that in this particular time the rapture will come. So people sold their land, they sold their houses, they cleared their accounts, they cleared their investments, because they got to a place where they believed the saying so much that it was all about the rapture. And so how then that affected them is they went even further and cleared their savings, sold their cars, sold their houses, because they believed that they were going to heaven. Therefore there was no need for these earthly things. Your family is not involved in all these things that are happening to you. Now, if you have experienced spiritual psychosis, surely our merciful God has a plan to ensure your restoration. And the first thing that you need to do is renunciation. You need to renounce. And this is turning away from those occultic practices, from those manipulations. You need to renounce these things. The second thing is regrounding. You need to now find your way back again into the scriptures and read the word of God for yourself. That's one of the things that you need to do, right? The third thing that you need to do is to renew your mind. You need to unlearn these patterns and these things that you have been exposed to. And you need to also take accountability. And while you are doing these things, you need to understand that there is patience that is required. You see, you are not going to to snap out of this today and tomorrow you are okay. You will have to put in work to ensure that you are at a state where this clutter, where this debt that is in your spirit, that is in your mind, is out of you. You need to flush this thing, and this requires you having to work so hard in prayer, in meditation, in fellowship with other brethren. And in closing, I would like to say, let us be a generation that is willing to seek God and do so wisely and engage discernment. Ask God. Don't just take in things. Don't just open your mouth to just everyone. Just open your spirit to just anything to be thrown into you. You are not a dustbin. And if you have been in spiritual psychosis and you are forced to believe and to be in a certain way, to live in a certain way, please let me know in the comment section.